right, sounds good. Hey, how y'all doing? Thanks for tuning in today to our podcast. This is our third episode. This episode is titled Dating and / Rules. Here is our third one. We're really excited. We've been out for a couple of days. Well, actually for a couple of weeks. Some lady beside me was sick, and then the engineer was sick. So we had to take a hiatus, but now we're back. We're ready to go. We're ready to rock and roll. We really want to blow this thing completely up. This podcast is called Co-Parenting, Doing It the Right Way, with your hosts, Christopher Galloway and Chanelle Pace.
I like to introduce myself, Chanelle Pace.
So
Thank
she's
you.
ready to start already. I see she's about to put her clown suit on already. She ain't even going to waste no time. All right. So go ahead. Let's start it off, Chanelle.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's bring it in.
All right.
Let's get
So first and foremost, I know earlier this morning I went live. We were talking about C's. We was giving you guys all the just accolades we can possibly give y'all about C's because you guys have been wonderful when it comes to C's. Y'all have showed up and showed out numerous times, and it's been great. We want to continue to say thank you for your support, your love, just coming in here like y'all do and patronizing us, and we want to say thank you because it's been wonderful, to say the least. With the new products we're bringing out, the Drink to Shrink, I mean, we sold out of there very quick. It was out of there before we even put it in. So we want to say thank you for that. Also, with the sea moss, been hearing nothing but great things around the city about the sea moss. So I want to say thank you for that as well. We got the meals coming very soon. We're working on a few other things, a few other items. So just stay tuned. And stay locked in because we're gonna just continue to bring more and more as much as we can because we want, like I said, to continue to put great things in you guys' bodies and in your hands because we know that health is wealth. So let's continue to just stay focused, stay locked in. Today I did a lot of test kitchen cooking today for the big fish. It was wonderful. We got a lot of footage that we're gonna post once my guys are done editing and everything. Once the team is done with it, we're gonna post it. A lot of different new menu items that's gonna be great. Hey, little cousin, how you doing, baby girl? You are tearing it up out there. I love watching you pitch. You going somewhere with that. I got a little cousin, guys. I see her. She came online. She's plays for Stanford. She's a pitcher in Stanford. She's tearing it up. She was freshman of the year, so I want to shout her out. Good job, baby girl.
Black Girls Rock.
And she's out of Topeka.
Oh. Is she a Trojan?
She went to Topeka High.
Okay,
Yep.
All right. Let's go. Class of 2000.
Okay, we had to do all that, but to say the least, guys, I want to say thank you. So let's dive into this because we got a topic we really want to discuss, some things that we went through. Again, like I said, for the first few episodes, you're going to hear about a lot of stuff that we went through. But then, of course, after that, we're going to pivot off of us and start doing other things towards our podcast to help bring awareness to the situation of co-parenting. So, Chanelle, come on, let's bring it in. Let's take it there.
All right. So what we want to do is something new. Actually, before we dive into our personal, what we'll do is catch you guys up. If you're just now tuning in, I do want to state, I do want to state that Chris and I are not professionals. We do not hold a therapy degree or a licensed counseling degree or anything in social work. That's not our expertise at all, nor do we try to convey and come across that way. However, what we have figured out was the blueprint on co-parenting. Why? Because we have experienced everything from A to Z when it comes to co-parenting. So I do want to put that disclaimer out there, and we are grateful for this platform. We also would like to thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is now the third. Yeah, this is our third episode. Bringing everyone up to speed. We did the cheating, the getting caught, the baby, and so now we're into the dating. All right, you know that this is a very important factor. Once you split up, once you realize I'm done with you, you done with me, now we're going to try to go ahead and live our lives separately and try to make this thing work. This is where it comes, this is when it starts getting tricky and getting complicated, when the dating take place. So, taking you guys back, Chris was already out, and now I am like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and see what this dating life is about. I'm tired of being a victim. It's not so much as trying to get even, but I'm getting ready to get out here. So I dibbled and dabbled, start dating, and actually, okay, even though I wasn't in a relationship with Chris anymore, it was almost like I was still fearful. I'm gonna use the right word, fearful. I was still very fearful because although I knew what he was doing, I just didn't feel comfortable stepping out, and I always felt like whatever I did, he was gonna be watching. And that holds true because he was. When I started dating, I remember this one particular time I had moved out, had my own apartment, separate from the original apartment that we shared together. And I had my little friend over, and all I hear is, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I'm not expecting anybody, right? So I hear the knocking again. And then I hear, Chanelle, I know you in there. So this guy was literally, he had just had surgery, was limping, peeking all through my blinds, crawled through some bushes, knocking on the door and on the window. Like, I was so afraid. And the guy that I actually had over there at that time, he wasn't a little wuss either. So, he was ready for the smoke. But it was just always wondering when Chris was going to pop up and if he was going to pop up. And for the most part, he did. I remember times where I would have company stay the night, and I literally would be in the bed just like spooked. Like, I couldn't even go to sleep because I was always worried of when and how he would pop up. So, all right, that was just the mingling, just meeting people here and there or whatnot. But when I actually decided to get in a relationship, that's when all the turmoil really kicked in gear. It was almost overdrive. So I started dating this guy exclusively, and this particular guy had already had children, right? So at this particular time, we're trying to do like the blended thing. He has kids, I have kids.
You had a kid.
Well, I had a kid, he had kids, excuse me. Anyway, long story short, this particular guy was very, he was an alpha man, so he was not going to be easily spooked. He was not going to deal with Chris's BS because truth of the matter is it was BS that Chris was on. So it came into the whole part about, well, I don't want my son around no particular person, and it just became a real deal. Like, it was uncomfortable because here you are trying to start your life and see what avenues you could take in the dating life, and then still having this cloud, which is the baby daddy, following you around and still trying to dictate and run your household per se. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, childish is what I would call it. Being immature, young, and again, that's my son. So my whole thought was, as a young man, nobody can be around my son. I don't care who they are. So that's how I carried it. And, I was going to come with whatever. Now, nothing ever happened, but, whether the person was scared or not didn't matter because people do dumb stuff when they being dumb. So it wouldn't have mattered who was scared and who wasn't scared. If I was gonna do something stupid, that would have been on me. That's just who I was at the time. I did stupid things. If you watch the episodes, I've done stupid things. I pull guns. I do stuff. I was doing dumb things as a young man. So once I found out she was serious about a man, I did start giving rules. I gave rules, and I was gonna stand on my rules. And because I want to stand on my rules, a lot of bad stuff started happening because I wasn't going to let nobody, you're not going to talk to my son any kind of way. You're not going to cuss at my son. You're not going to tell my son what to do. And I was going to stand on that because I was young and immature. And I stood on that. I was going to stand on it no matter what happened. I meant it. And I can feel myself kind of getting heated right now because it's taking me back a little bit. When I was younger, I was like that. Like, no, this is my child. Ain't nobody going to tell my son what to do, plain and simple. If you got a problem with my child, you need to call me, and I'll direct my son, but you're not going to tell my son anything. That's exactly how I felt. Now I'm a whole lot older, so I'm a whole lot wiser. Of course, I don't even move like that. But at the time, I was very locked into that move. I did not care. So I understand young men when they're kind of trying to set those rules, but...
Well, I think that's where, there's nothing wrong with rules or an understanding. I'm not gonna say rules because rules just feel like that's just. I mean, like there's nothing wrong with having an agreement. And let's dive into what are healthy rules and versus just like somebody just trying to be controlling, because I think that's a thin line right there, and I think that's an issue.
Well, I mean,
what would you consider a fair agreement?
Well, I mean, I think now when you look at it all, you want to make sure you know who the man is. You don't want, because in this day and age you got a lot of pedophilia, you got a lot of people doing strange things. So I would always say get to know the other person. Try to show yourself to be friendly and get to know the other person. But then you do have y'all boundaries. Hey man, if this child does anything.
So is it okay to discipline?
No.
Well, wait a minute. We need to talk about the types of discipline, because when you're in a relationship, let's just be honest. When you're in a relationship, now let's just assume that this is somebody that you've been in a relationship with. Let's put a time frame on it, more than 6 months, because actually one of our hot topics that we're going to discuss is the Mowry. Is it Mowry?
Mowry and Corey Hartnett.
Yeah, we want to discuss them, but. Okay, we might as well just go ahead and do it. So they have recently finalized their divorce, and their divorce is contingent on some of the terms and the agreements. One of them being she gets to keep the entire mansion, which I think was valued over like $4 million. Neither one of them are responsible for child support, so they have an agreement there. And then I read a little further where it says that in the divorce decree, neither one of them are allowed to introduce or to have their kids around the other partner or whatnot, whoever it is that they're dating. But I think I saw a clause in there where it says unless they have been together longer than 6 months. So when I mentioned discipline, we need to talk. Let's say you're in a relationship and you have been dealing with this person more than 6 months. Y'all at a year mark. Let's fast forward. Y'all at a year, maybe a year and a half. So now you guys are thinking, okay, yes, I'm agreement with no physical discipline whatsoever on no part from any parent. I totally understand and I totally get that. However, when you're now under one roof and you have your kids, the other person's kids or whatnot, you want to make sure that the child knows that there is some authority in the house. So now we need to talk about what is considered healthy, like what rights do that significant other have when it comes to disciplining your child? What is acceptable?
Well, so first and foremost, you got to look at the whole dynamic. What is that significant other person bringing into the table? What have y'all discussed? It has to have those discussions you got to have, and you're gonna have to have a lot of discussion, because that is a tough situation to be putting somebody else in. You got a person coming into a child's life who only known their father or mother, and now this new woman, a new man is coming in, and they have their thoughts on what they think how things should go. And truthfully, it really only starts with the parents. It's both parents. They have to make sure between them two that they have an understanding of how the other person is going to. How the boundaries are going to be set for the other person. Because what happens is a lot of times people come in and they come with their own set of rules and thoughts, and they're going to say, this is how I do my children, so this is how I'm going to do your child. Well, it doesn't work that way. Even if y'all in a relationship, it doesn't work that way, because y'all have to have an understanding where the other parent on the outside feels like this is okay and I feel safe with this person being around my child, versus somebody just coming in and being a dictator and trying to tell a kid, this is what you're going to do, cussing at children that are not yours. I think that is out of line. I truly believe that is out of line. You don't cuss at nobody else's child. I'm sorry. You just don't do that. Leave that to their parents. You should come in, I think, as a friend. You should try to be friendly with their child and give them more of like a friendly, and be more of like a guidance. Give them like guidance a little bit. Almost like a father figure, because I'm not your father, but I'm going to make sure that I keep you safe when you're around me, and I'm going to give you guidance. But I'm going to come out friendly, because the last thing you want to do, what you guys are going to find out is, once things start happening, my son started manipulating, because that's what he knew. He knew what time it was. He knew I just manipulate the situation then, because if this is how it's going to go, then I'm going to manipulate. So what you got to do, this is how you stop the manipulation, by allowing the other person to come in and show themselves friendly. I think that's the best way to go about it. That's just how I feel about it.
Okay, so I am in 100% agreement when it comes to physical discipline. I don't think so at all. However, when you're dealing with another person's child, let's say, you know, dad is at work, mom is at work, and here you is, you have this whole child here who, let's just being disruptive. Okay, so as the responsible party in the house, you need to be able to gain control of the situation. Let's say the kids are fighting. You know what I'm saying? All right, now what you do for your kid, which probably would be like, okay, who passed first lick? That's who's in trouble, right? Now let's just say it's the other person's child that causes the problem. I think definitely an understanding needs to take place in that relationship prior to. So I agree with you, but it goes back to see what is acceptable. All right, you got to stay here in your room until your daddy get home, or you make it to where that parent is the only one that's disciplining that kid, period?
I'm going to say, I think if both parties have had conversations, it shouldn't be hard for the outside person to call maybe the mom or the dad to say, hey, this is what your child was just doing. Can you talk to him? And a responsible parent's like, get him on the phone. And because of the fearfulness of their other parent, the child should automatically cur down and say, okay, now I'm in trouble. I'm just going to chill. Versus, you trying to take it into your own hands, because what you end up putting yourself into is a situation that becomes a catch-22. Because now the mom or the dad is pissed. And they're like, okay, now I'm coming. And now here comes the problems. Well, all of it could have been avoided by having conversations. A lot of times, all it takes is real conversation and real dialogue, and that'll change a lot of the narratives. In our community, as black people, we are quick to go off the handle. We don't waste no time. You come in one of my...
Like, sometimes you can't even say, like, the mom, I'm going to speak for the women. The mom, don't you even say nothing to my kid. Don't even look at my kid. You have people who come in with that type of energy already. So it's already creating a hostile situation. Here you are, you have a child that's being disrupted, and the dad's at work, and you don't want me to say nothing. Like, nah, I got a whole problem with that. Like,
it's tough. It's definitely tough. That's why it's very hard to blend families. That's why it's very hard to date somebody with children, and the outside party is still active or whatever. It's hard, but that's why we have to start having real dialogue. You have to have dialogue. It's going to probably take a lot of dialogue. It might not be a one-day dialogue. It may take months of dialogue and getting to know each other and trying to figure out how this can work, how it could work. And then it also looks at age plays a factor. Age plays a major factor because, when you're 20-some years old, you're out of testosterone, you don't care. You're like, man, look here. This ain't happening. When you get older, you 30, 40, you ain't got time for all that. You got more years behind you than you do in front of you. So you ain't really, that's petty to you. A lot of stuff becomes petty. But when you're young, you standing on principle. There's a lot of principle there because it's like, look, only person going to touch my child is me. Only person going to touch my child is me. But at some point in life, a lot of stuff becomes, because here, I'm going to say something. I have a little girl. She's 3. I could care less whoever I'm got around her right now. I don't know who she got around her, and I don't care because as long as they're not touching my child, that's all that matters. As long as they're not hurting my little girl, I don't care.
Okay, so now we're going to tell you guys what worked for us, right? Because typically that's what comes around. I don't want my child around this person. You better not leave my child this. Okay, so this is how, fellas, this is how you get off from underneath that. Females, this is how you get off underneath that. I have this child with you. I know that this child is the love of your life. I know that you will die. I know that you would go to the pits of hell to defend or protect your child. I know that you are his mother or his father, so I understand that you're going to make sure that he is in the best place possible as far as safety, as far as his needs, the child's needs. I know and I trust you as his parent to make sure that the child is safe. And I keep saying he because I also always refer to our child together. So the way that I was able to release that, because it again, it's control. It is 100% control. But here's how, this is what worked for us. When I was able to be at peace with knowing that my child was safe, that my child was going to eat, and I trusted his judgment. As no matter who he has around my child, I know that Chris was going to make sure our child was safe. After that resonated with me, I didn't care who he had. No, I don't want to say didn't care, but I trusted the people that he had my child around. And that allowed me to be able to sleep. That allowed me to take my weekends that I didn't have them and actually live my life and enjoy myself instead of worrying about where you go, where your daddy take you to, who did your hair, who, what'd you eat? You know, like I stopped stressing about all that because I released the control and I trusted him as a father. So ladies, that's all you have to do. Fellas, that's all you have to do. So stop going back and forth with them. Don't do all of that.
Hold on.
Trust. What?
But hold on.
What?
Hold on. We're gonna keep it all the way 100. We're gonna keep it funky because let me tell you two things one thing for certain, two things for certain. I wasn't having none of that. I'm gonna be real with you. That was not happening. I was still manipulating. So she ain't telling you everything. I was still manipulating.
Well, that was him. I'm telling you what worked for me, I'm telling you what the blueprint is. Where you ultimately not like you were stubborn. That's why it took us so long to get through all of this mess and filter through it because you were not willing to transform. However, the blueprint, if you're in a relationship and you're currently going through this, that's the blueprint. That's what works. You have to put trust into the child's parent. You know, you really do. That relinquished all that. Now, what he ended up doing, that's a whole different story.
Well, I mean, they got to know. I'm gonna tell them because it's all about the situation. So anyway, I had flew out of town to take care of some business. My son called me and told me some stuff had happened. He had gotten into a fight with the other kid, and I'm like, what? And they said the young man daddy just stood there and watched. I said, oh really? So when I came back in town,
which was completely not false, and this is where the manipulation from the kid comes to.
I'm gonna get into that.
Go ahead.
So my son called me and told me this. So I said, well, I'm in Arizona. When I get back, I'm gonna handle it. So I get back in town. This is now I'm going to be a cop. So a lot of stuff is happening and all this stuff is going on. So I decided, you know what, the hell with this. I'm taking my son. So I went to his school where he was at.
Hold on, you didn't fast forward.
No, I did not. This all happened. All that happened right around the same time. So
no, you didn't take him from
Yes, I did.
That is not how that happened. You didn't come and get Chris from school until all the other stuff happened.
That was the last straw, though.
No, hold on. We can't just okay. If we're gonna go there with that part, then we gotta tell this part.
Tell it.
Okay. All right. So tune in, guys. This is where it gets interesting. All right. So right now we're at the point to where I'm dating. I'm living with my guy. He has kids. I have a child, and we're trying to do the blended family thing, right? Which is a whole piece of work within itself. And that's something that's a whole nother subject, right? All right, but I was new at it, and so was Chris. However, it was to the point now to where I used to live in fear about what Chris would think and how Chris would respond, but I was letting all that go because, again, I was trying to live my new life, start over, like all that stuff was behind me. All right, so now you have Chris, little Chris, when it starts being the manipulation. So what he's doing is he's putting me against his dad, is over-exaggerating stories and situations because under no circumstance have I ever allowed any kid to beat my child. So, but little Chris was going to his dad, oh, Dad, he's doing this, he's doing that. Now, they were boys around the same age, so it would be little disagreements and things that sometimes escalated into physical. However, that was something that we were always on top of. We never allowed anything like that. But when Chris got the story, it was completely exaggerated to make it seem like, oh, I'm just over here just allowing people to just beat on my child, which was totally not the case. And this part right here is very touchy for me because as a woman, the one job that's the most important to you is motherhood, right? So when you have that compromise at any point, you know, it causes you to feel a way. So Chris and I decided that we were going to go over to my mother's to have a mediation meeting, right? So here I'm thinking that that's what we were coming to do. All right, so we're talking, we're going back and forth, discussing the situation, and he has another kind of energy. Like it became clear to me that he was not interested in coming to a resolve. This was only about confrontation and just, dominating, right? So out of frustration, I took a shoe, a slipper, a house shoe. You feel what I'm saying? I took a house shoe and I threw the house shoe. I don't even think the house shoe touched him. I think if it did, it grazed his shoulder. Anyway, this fool, I'm going to say fool because to me that's what it was. He took advantage of his position and his authority with the Kansas City, wherever he was working, and with the police department. And he called the police. Yes, so he called the police, had the police come to the house. Of course, I mean, I'm no dummy, so when they asked, did you hit him? No, I didn't hit him. And then I technically don't know if the house shoe landed on him or not, but he took advantage of that opportunity But ladies, this is how you have to be careful. And I'm only speaking from a woman's point of view. But when you have a father that is vindictive and is so filled with, I'm gonna say, rage and jealousy. But it's crazy because he was doing the exact same thing to me, but never did I show my hand that way. I think I may have keyed a car once. But, that was the extent of it. Like, I had moved on. It's time for us to be happy. I'm trying to, live my life. Anyway, this fool called the police, had the police come to my mother's house. I will never forget this day. Had the police come to the house. They came up, questioned, asked me if I had assaulted him with a shoe, right? And, of course, everybody in the house is like, nah, she didn't do it, right? I had all the riders, had everybody on the team. So they turned around. I believe they asked, yes, Chris, he did. So I think they asked my child if I threw the shoe. Now, he didn't know because he was not present during that time. However, his dad had so much control, so much mind control over him to where whatever his daddy would say, he would do it. Or whatever his dad say, do, he do it. Jump, whatever. Chris was locked in with his daddy at the time. He couldn't do no wrong. He was his real life superhero. And that meant going against his mom. So anyway, long story short, they asked my son if he threw the shoe. Then here comes the man, the police, coming upstairs, ma'am, we're going to need you to turn around, put your hands behind your back. You're going to jail. So, yes, that was the first time and the last time, let me say, that I have ever been in handcuffs. But I went to jail and under 6-hour hold because this hoe had me arrested for throwing a shoe. So
I thought we was gonna be. I thought we was gonna be damn honest here. I thought we was gonna be honest. I thought we was gonna be honest.
What I leave out?
You hit my damn jaw.
You a lie.
Lord have mercy.
Now he lying.
Lord have mercy.
Now he lying.
I cannot believe she sat up here and told. Now you told these people I spit on you. You told people I pulled a gun on you. But you want to tell these people that you hit my damn jaw?
His memory is messed up. His memory is messed up. I ain't hit. Now what I'm
laugh.
He's always been big. He's always been big, but I've never hit him in his jaw. Okay. I threw a slipper.
She got amnesia. So let me help her out. She got amnesia.
Yeah, I can listen to this.
So I'm gonna tell y'all because you know what it is. It's always two sides to a story, and so actually three. There's her side, my side, and the truth somewhere in the middle.
It's the truth.
So anyway, I'm in full uniform.
No, you wasn't.
I was too. I just got off work.
Well, I don't remember if you was in uniform.
So I tell you how much she don't know.
I don't remember that.
I was still in full uniform. That's why when they came out there, they said Officer Galloway. They knew I had on my whole damn uniform on. I had just got off work to come and talk to you. I was in uniform.
Go ahead with the story, sir.
So anyway,
with your version.
So anyway, we're arguing. Yes, I had a lot of visceral. I was pissed. I was not bad. I was not budging. I was not going back down. So anyway, I'm walking down. I said, fuck this conversation. I'm leaving. I'm literally walking down the stairs. She reached over the balcony and she hit me. All right, fuck. That's what I wanted. I wanted her to hit me because I knew right then and there, that's all I needed her to do was put her hands on me. And I'm in uniform too. Hell yeah, I'm about to get her now. I called him. I got on my radio and called. I said, hey, send me a car out to wherever the address was. They came. They saw me. I said, man, she hit me. I said, now it is what it is, but she did hit me. I said, now had I hit her, y'all be coming to get me. Go get her. They went in the house, did whatever the little investigation was. They came back outside. My son was in my car. I was standing away from the car. They went to my son. They asked him. I didn't tell my son anything.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that to this
course.
day. He coached
Of
him.
course.
Coached him.
So anyway,
Quit
they
lying
went
to
and got
people.
her.
Tell the truth.
I've told everything we've ever done. We've been through.
Him.
So, what boils
Positivity
down.
water, y'all.
Yeah, we need some positivity right now because she lying. So, anyway, anyway, make a long story short, she ended up going to jail. So when she went to
Hold on, we not just finna skaze over me going to jail. Let me tell you about okay, so I'm in this place, right, down in Wyandotte County, so I don't even know where the jail stay. I don't even know where it's at, because that's no place for me. I'm down here.
It was messed up. Yeah, you're right, it was definitely messed up.
Yes, it was chilly. I think it was cold in there. Excuse me, it was cold. They were stinky. They were laying all over the benches. I'm just in this place, and I'm like, all because I threw a slipper. He's adding stuff and saying that I punched him in the jaw. Like, what is like punching him in the jaw? Now, I did tell y'all a couple episodes ago that I did try to fight him, but I didn't do that day. Now, that day I was trying to come up with a resolution because I had enough. It was causing turmoil within the house. So anyway, I'm in jail, right? They got me there for 6 hours. Finally get out, I'm free. Now I'm enraged, like the amount of this dude could be hit by a diesel and I wouldn't give I wouldn't care not one bit, okay? Because to me, it occurred to me the level of how low he would go to sit there and have me arrested in front of our child, have our child manipulate the situation to the police to back him up, also that he can formulate and execute his master plan, which was to take my child. So he showed up. So what he did was have me locked up. This is how I know the shit was plotted, because all this happened within not even 12 hours. I'm in jail, get released. He got little Chris and went and had him withdrawn from school. Now he got custody. I'm showing up trying to get him from his apartment. They laughing and it was a mess. It was horrible.
Yeah. So what happened was, I did have a plan. She went to jail. I had a plan. I went and drew him out of the school he was in. I put him in another school. I went and got an ex parte, and that way she couldn't take him. So I got an ex parte on her.
Which was crazy, because even when you go to, I know in Missouri, before you can even get an ex parte, y'all gotta show up to court. You gotta prove that it was to that level, to that degree. Not over here in Kansas, they just lock you up and take your kids.
What it boils down to is when you are part of the law changes a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I was able to kind of manipulate the situation a little bit. I did manipulate the situation a whole lot of bit. So I was able to get my son. I put him in another school, and I was the police officer at that school, so I could kind of keep an eye on my child as well as do my job. So when she came to my home, she came over, and I think she was trying to get him, and I was getting dressed, and I had the ex parte and all the stuff on the table. So when the cops came in, they saw my badge, they saw my gun, they was like, "Oh, you're a cop. All right, I'm about to go back outside." So they told her, I don't know what they told her, but I know they came back in and was like, "She gone, sir." And I was like, all right, so that was what it was. But again, this is why that happened. So I'm gonna fast forward back to Arizona. I was in Arizona. My son called me, told me that the young man had put his hands on him. And the young man was he's about 3 years older than my son. And my son,
two.
Well, 2 years old. My son wasn't no fighter. So of course that wasn't his game. So he called his daddy, said his daddy stood there and laughed while we fought. I said, oh, really?
Never happened.
Again, but this is my child manipulating. So I'm like, oh, really? So I called his mom, and I'm going off. And I'm like, okay, when I get back home, it's on. I guess she wanted to stop it at her head, and she was like, let's meet and talk. But I didn't want to talk. I was done talking because I had talked enough to both of them. I was done talking about my son. Now I'm just going to take my child. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my son from you, and I'm going to teach you what it's all about when it comes to messing with Christopher Jr. And so that's how it went. I'm not proud of it, but that's what I did. I did what I thought was best at the moment. Now, looking back on it, it wasn't right. But who hasn't done something in the heat of the moment that
Oh
wasn't
no,
right?
that doesn't go under that umbrella. I'm sorry, you were a shitty person for that, and there's no coming back from that. All right, so now that we have established he was a very shitty person for having me arrested, we can proceed and move forward. Okay, so he has little Chris under his control as what he wanted. He wanted little Chris. And during that transition, it was really, really weird for my son and I. We were in a really weird place. Not because my love changed for him, but it's because he was under his dad's full little, puppet thing. And for the longest, little Chris was acting like, oh, I don't want to go with my mom. Like, mama, oh no. Like, he didn't want to come around. Like, if he came over, he was sat on the whole opposite end of the couch. But I just did what a mother do, love her child. I allowed him to go through whatever little fake emotions he was having. Well, number one, suffering from confusion, because that's what his dad had instilled in him. But anyway, after a while, I said, listen, we're not getting ready to play these games. Number one, you're not in harm's way. I would never do anything to harm you. And so he slowly came up out of that, right? So much so to where this is why you have to be careful when you play those kind of games, because me being smart, all I had to do was keep loving my child. All I had to do was keep loving them, keep showing them the support and all of that. And dad was continuing to be in the disciplinarian, the harking all over him, his every move, to where now it shifted. And it shifted in a major way. Hold on. Before we even go there. This is where I felt like I got completely free from it all. This is where I got completely free. And this is what broke the chains for me. I had, after all the stuff that he had been doing, the cheating, the baby, the spitting on me, having me arrested for nothing, taking my child, restraining orders, all of this, I had to free myself, because I hated this dude. Like, if he had died that day, I wouldn't have shedded not one tear. That's how bad the hatred had gotten between us. Like, I hated to hear the sound of his voice. I hated his scent. I hated that my son looked like him. I hated that I had to share my son with him on the weekends. Like, I hated his guts. But because I could not have that energy consuming my life, dictating my mood, I went to this man and I asked him to forgive me for anything that I had ever done. Do you remember that? No, outside, I asked you to come over to my mom's. You came over to my mom. We stood outside in the driveway, and I asked you. I said, I remember it clear as day. I asked him to forgive me, and he stood there on his high horse, on his cocky horse, like, almost like in a sense of, you can bow down now. I won. I got you in a position. But I was doing that to free myself. I wasn't doing it for any other reason. And that right there is what broke the chains, broke the cycle, broke the arguing for me, broke the bickering. It broke all of that. And that day, after that day, that
must have been while we were in court, because I don't remember.
No, it was before we even started going to court. I did that immediately because I knew that the hatred that I had in my heart for you, it wasn't healthy. Like, it wasn't healthy, right? So I had to release that from me. And like I said, he was on his high horse thinking, bow down type of stuff. But it was really, I had to let that go for me. And so when I let it go, that's when little Chris was like, oh, my mom not fighting for me no more. She not struggling with me no more. The game is over. Like, okay. So then that's when little Chris was like, our son was like, I kind of want to stay over here, Mom. I kind of don't really want to go over to my dad's. And he was starting to cling more to me. Like, it was to a point where he would cry because he would have to go over to his dad. So his plan started reversing. Yeah, it was like that.
Well, if it was, I don't know. But let's go so Chris was still manipulating the game regardless. He did manipulate the hell out of me because that was my baby. Now, mind you, I grew up without a father. So being a father was like everything to me.
Bobby said, now you don't remember. Nah, you got amnesia.
Nah, I don't remember. I'm being real. It's like she didn't remember I had on my uniform the day I went over there. Out of nowhere, you see this blue uniform, you don't remember it. So anyway, let me get back to what I'm saying. He was manipulating situations so tough that he had us like in a tailspin. We were really at each other. Like we stayed arguing, stayed fighting. It was all the time. So we ended up going to court.
Went to court. This dude had me wasting money, man. This dude had me in court. Like, and then, go ahead, talk about court so I can tell people what it really was. He manipulating go ahead. Oh, my God.
Can nobody tell my truth like I can tell my damn truth?
Go ahead.
So, because I know I lived it.
Go ahead.
Yes, I had control of the whole situation. From the judge to the lawyers to everybody in that room, I had control of the whole situation. I knew I had control of it all. I had it. I had control of the doctor. I had control of everybody.
This lady wrote a full report, sitting down there having me in her office, like a psychiatrist, what was the shit? Psychiatrist or whatever it was. She needed to have her license.
Are you going to let me finish telling the story, or are you going to keep jumping in?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's just bringing up trauma, past, what they call it.
This is how you heal. This is why we here, because this is how you heal from it.
Post-traumatic. I'm not
here.
I can punch you in your jaw right now.
Yeah, and then guess what she going to be doing? Hold on. Hey, y'all, if she touched me, guess where she going? If she touches me, guess where she going, y'all? If she puts her hands on me, guess where she going? To jail.
Whatever, go ahead.
So anyway.
You manipulating them.
So I got everybody where I want them. Everybody. From the judge to the lawyers to everybody. I got them all right where I want them. We about almost done. They're about to make a decision on Chris's behalf to say where he's going to go, where he's going to reside.
Oh, hold on. We got to fill this in. Hold on. Because we going to be transparent. Okay, so during this time frame, this dude serves me with a paper saying, hey, I'm petitioning the courts to have our child be able to move out of state. So not only has he done all this, the spitting, the pulling the gun, the baby, the cheating, throwing me in jail for throwing a shoe. Now, this dude then served me with papers telling me he's getting ready to remove my child from the state of Kansas and fly him all the way to Atlanta with a female. We just gonna keep it all the way 100. That he ain't known 2 months. And you want me to be okay with that? Go ahead.
So anyway, all this happens.
We're in the courtroom.
We're in the court. The judges, they're about ready. We got like another week or so. We're going to go back, and they're going to tell us what's going to happen. Now, I knew I had it in the bag.
He thought he did. He thought he did, but that judge threw a curveball, baby.
See, that's why I know you don't be paying attention, because it was not the judge. Chanelle, I had it won.
No, you didn't.
Chanelle, I stopped.
No, you didn't.
Chanelle, I stopped everything.
No, you did. That is not what happened. That judge told you that he was not ready to rule on that situation just yet.
I'm not talking about him going out of town.
Y'all, this is real life.
No, I'm not talking about him going out of town. I'm talking about custody, Chanelle.
Oh, wait, no, you never was granted full custody.
No, but I was about to get full custody.
No, you were not about to get full custody. You were trying to petition the court so that you can take little Chris to
yes, but I was also going
because the divorce decree had already established.
But I was also going for him to. He was going to be living with me. I was going to be the custodial parent. After the doctor did her report, they were going to go off the doctor's report. I was going to be the custodial parent. So anyway, let me go ahead and finish telling y'all the story, because I don't know. Maybe she got amnesia.
No, I don't have no amnesia.
What happened was, I don't know what happened to me one night. I was laying in my bed.
That's not what happened. The judge threw
Chanelle,
a monkey
I'm talking about when I made the clear-cut decision,
Chanelle.
You
calm yourself
I'm
down.
calm. When I called you on the phone and I said, Chanelle, I'm not going to do this to you anymore. So
that ain't the way that I recall it. That's not the way that I recall it. This is the way that I recall it. I recall it because the judge did not give you permission to take little Chris to Atlanta so you can go down there and be with that girl. You then, after that, you had the decision, the revelation, like, oh, we need to cut all this stuff out because you wasn't able to take little Chris to Atlanta, that relationship severed. Because you wasn't able to fly Lil Chris and you to Atlanta. That's the only reason why you had the revelation after the fact. You didn't have the revelation during that because you was getting ready to take him to Atlanta.
Okay, so let me tell you again. how this all came about.
Oh my God.
You can sit up and say what you feel. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Somebody don't remember the story. I know, Bobby.
I remember the whole story like it was yesterday, Bobby. She don't remember it. Again, I'm laying in my bed, and I heard something say, "You need to stop doing her like this." And that's when I was like, you know what? I'm done. Because we didn't even have to go to court no more. We stopped. We didn't even go back to court to hear what the judge had to say. Now, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember
Okay,
that
so
because also,
so with that being said, I had to make the phone call to her to say, hey, look, it wasn't about not going to Atlanta. It wasn't about none of that. It was about.
Mad. He mad now.
I'm not mad at all. It wasn't about going to Atlanta. It was about the whole situation of not doing her the way I continued to do her, because I hurt her so many times over. I continued to manipulate the situation so many times over.
Lord, I ain't spoke to him.
And so he did speak. Chanelle, you are being real silly today, man.
I'm just saying.
You're being real silly today.
This is touching a little sensitive.
Yeah, because this stuff was tough to go through.
You did it to me.
But again, when I finally got the revelations to stop my mess, that's what you'll understand. When you finally wake up to stop the bull crap, it hit you like a ton of bricks. So when I finally realized my error and was like, okay, now I'm gonna need to stop, I called her on the phone. I told her, look, I'm not gonna do this with you anymore. We're gonna start working together to raise this boy, because he's manipulating me, he's manipulating you, and I'm manipulating everybody else. So we sat down and we came with a plan, and we started working on the plan of how we're gonna raise him and raise him right. I sent him back home to her. After she left old boy, I sent him back home to her. Because he wasn't going back home when she left old boy. I was not playing that. So when she left old boy, I sent him back home. Did I not?
I think what happened was when your relationship fell apart.
See, that's not what happened.
What happened was when your relationship fell apart. What happened. That is what happened. But yes, I did move during that process, because at that particular time, I told myself it wasn't worth this relationship. Unfortunately, even though I had the child by the guy and all that at this point, the relationship was, I didn't want my son to ever feel like I chose a person over him. So I made the decision. That's how bad it had gotten. So when you're talking about co-parenting, these are real life issues that you have to deal with and face or whatnot. But I realized in that moment that I never wanted my son to feel like, even though that wasn't the case, I never wanted him to be able to come to me and say, you chose a man over me. So at that particular time, I did what was best for myself and my child, and I relocated and terminated the relationship. It was some other reasons too. That just wasn't a deciding factor, but that was one of the most important parts for myself. But also remembering up until this point, months leading up into this point, little Chris was tired of being under his dad's control, and he was ready to come home. So it wasn't a hard transition for him to be like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and let him come back over to your house. It just kind of happened. So, but anyway, go ahead.
No, so the relationship had already been severed in Atlanta. Chris was still in 4th grade when the relationship was in Atlanta. Chris came back to his mother when he was in the 7th grade. He lived with me till he's in the 6th grade.
Drink you some water, y'all.
So he lived with me till he's in the 6th grade. So I sent him back to his mom, and we started working together to raise him, and we stopped having the issues. Now this was a touchy subject, because some stuff kind of came up out of nowhere with us today.
I don't know.
Because we haven't had. I guess we never really talked about some of this stuff. But
some therapy. He need therapy out of all the stuff he done to me. He getting them. You okay?
I'm good.
You
sure?
Chase.
So back to what I was saying. We started working together to raise him, and we didn't have any more issues after the fact. So we still started gravitating towards working together, learning each other. She started learning who I really was. I started learning who she really was, and we started really, really focusing on raising our son the right way.
And this is what we decided to do. From that moment on, we decided we were not going to allow outside opinions, outside people, outside anything dictate and determine how we were going to raise our child. So it became a point to where, like, all of the yelling, if I felt myself getting upset, he would end the phone call. He would be like, hey, I can tell you getting a little heated. Let's resume this conversation at a later time. We just started understanding each other, understanding how to deal with each other, how to talk with each other. And most of all, we started having patience with each other. But then in the midst of that, we also learned this little boy has been manipulating both of us, and we're too busy bickering and arguing. And again, during that time frame, I'll never forget it. Like I said in the last episode, your grandmother or your mom, one of them told us, if we don't start arguing over this boy, the Lord will take him from us. And when she told us that, when it resonated with me, because I'm like, okay, obviously the Lord gave him for a reason, gave him to us for a reason. So I don't want to be so focused on what you doing and what you got going on and arguing for 18. Can you imagine some people argue for 18 years like they never get it right? Like that is a huge weight to carry around, knowing that you have to deal with this person. And for 18 years, this is really going to be the dynamics of our relationship. For 18 years, we're really going to argue and go back and forth. For 18 years, I'm going to tell you what you can and can't do. For 18 years, I'm going to tell you who going to be around the kid. You know, for 18 years, I'm going to rob you for all the money that you can when it comes to child support. For 18, that's a long time to carry such a heavy burden. So when those words resonated, if y'all don't stop arguing over this baby, the Lord will take him from you both. I think we just had that moment where we were like, we done. Like, we are over it. We got a new revelation. Like, it was onward and upward from that point on. And since then, I can honestly say that it has been smooth sailing. Chris is now it's weird. Like, it's weird because it's like, okay, we were married, but now he's like my best friend, but he's also like my family. And like who he is to me now, I really feel in my heart like he has, I don't know. I feel like he's shown, like the support and the love that he shows me now, it's almost like I feel like he's making up for like all of the hurtful things that he's done. Like, you know, man, this guy has so much history and it was bad, but like who he is today and how he honors me today as my son's mom, like I do want to tell you, like seriously from the bottom of my heart, and I'm getting a little emotional because I just realized how far we done came. And I just want to say thank you for just acknowledging that. You know what I'm saying? Like, enough was enough. Thank you for just making sure that my son knows who I am in his life. I thank you for making sure that whoever you encounter going, you know, from up until now, because little Chris is 19 years old now.
Chris is 20.
20, I'm sorry, my bad. Chris is 20 years old now. So, you know, you still make sure that I'm held at a high standard. I thank you for that. I thank you for becoming the man who you are now, knowing that, you know, that stuff wasn't cool, you know. So I appreciate you, and I thank you for giving me my rightful crown, I guess I should say, because not a lot of men have that awareness. Like, it goes on forever. So I just want to humbly tell you, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, see, and the thing is, she's right. I did get myself into a situation where I felt like I wanted to fix and right my wrongs. So I kind of started, this is another reason why we're in business together. This is another way of me righting my wrongs. It's like, hey, if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna blow up, you're gonna blow up too. If I'm gonna make this money, you're gonna make money too. If I'm gonna help the community, you're gonna help the community too. We're gonna ride it together. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it hurts relationships for me because I've lost women because they tried to kick her out of my life. And I'm like, well, nah, you can't do that. Now, I mean, I don't want her. She don't want me. I'm trying to be honest with you. But a lot of women just don't understand that. They're like, nah. Well, you gonna leave before she leaves. I'm just going to be real with you. So
let's just talk about that just a little bit.
Okay.
So when it comes to us having an understanding that we're not going to allow anyone on the outside to dictate and determine how we raise our kid, that allowed us to only hear each other. That allowed us to have a better understanding. That allowed us to just really do what's best for Chris. Because if I allow a spouse or a boyfriend or whatever you want to call it, if I allow them to set the standard of how we gonna raise our kid, like, it becomes polluted. Like, it's too many hands in a pot, right? Like, but I also understand when you're in a relationship, like, you have to listen to the other person, but the deciding factor, it has to be between both parents. Like, it just has to. That worked for us, and I did not really mean
no,
to.
dog, that's a lie. That is a bona fide lie.
No. Absolutely not,
That's
Chris.
a bona fide lie.
No, let me tell you. That's what I was saying. It's weird now because Chris is like, okay, he went from husband to ex-husband, but he went from family. It's like, it's weird because I consider him family now. And, you know, when you love family, you look out for family. You make sure that family, like, Chris has made, like, I done ran out of gas. Here he comes. Superman saved the day. My battery, like, he really is a good guy. And it's not because I want him. Chris can stand in front of me butt naked and I keep right on walking. So it's not that type of attraction. It's more so like, I got you, I know you got me, and we gonna make sure, because we still got a son who is trying to go to college, who we are believing God that's getting ready to send him to the NFL. So it's more so we still gotta work with each other. We still gotta see this vision to the end. Like, we still gotta get to the finish line. Like, you know, so that's where the love and support come. But I will honestly say, my right hand to God, there is nothing, and a lot of people think that, but it's just because we are genuine with each other, we're pure with each other, and respectful. So when he's in a relationship, I'm not disrespecting his I don't care nothing about that part of his life because it doesn't concern me. However, he does the same thing with me. We're not disrespectful to each other's spouses or anything like that. It's mutual respect. And it is us figuring out the blueprint so that we can raise our child in a healthy environment. All of that.
Let me step in. So,
Go
Chris,
ahead.
let me tell you, I'm going to be real with you, bro. Ain't no cap here. This is real talk. Now, we do have chemistry because we've been around each other for so long. We've dealt with each other for so long.
Yeah,
so
like
it's always
20.
going to be chemistry there. However, this is my dog. She's my ride or die. Like, this is my ride or die right now. Like,
He said, I'm going down with the ship, y'all. That was a big compliment.
yeah, she's my ride or die. She's going down with the ship. This is my ride or die. So, with that being said, I felt like it was necessary to whatever I can bring her into that I'm doing, she's going to do it with me. Because I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have none of that going on. We are just family. She is truly my family. She knows that I got her back. I look, one thing about me, I ain't gonna be in her man face fronting. I'm not gonna be in front of no dude telling him I don't want his woman, and then behind closed doors I want his woman. I would never do that. That's foul. I'm not doing that. So I would never move that way. I want nothing but the best for her, and if I'm part of that best of helping her succeed, then I'm gonna do that. Doesn't matter about anything else. None of that other stuff matters. I want to see her win. So any man that has a child's mother, and you dealt with her or you're not with her anymore, you still should want to see her win.
That should, like, yeah,
all day.
That's fake.
That's what we don't do that. So we gonna make this happen. We gonna get this money. I want to see you shine. I want to see you win because all of us, because we changed. If you don't grow, here's the thing. This is something I made up. I said, listen, if you don't grow, you will never go. You'll always be stuck in the same rut. You have to grow in order to go. You can't do that if you continue to stay. Look around you. Just look around your neighborhood. Look at the people that's still doing the same crap. I guarantee you they're still in the same spot they've been in. We have to grow in order to go. So we grew. And now it looks weird to certain folk, but certain folk look at it and they applaud it because it takes a lot of growth to get to this point. This is why we want to do the podcast. Yes, you saw us arguing just a minute ago. You saw,
Yeah.
but this is us. This is who we are. But this is what we wanted to kind of get our story out first before we really start diving into our podcast. Because our podcast is going to be more about other people, not me and Chanelle. But we wanted to tell our story because how can you help other people if you don't have a story? You gotta have there's no test on a testimony. So we have a testimony of what we've been through, what I took her through. A lot of it was me. I said it the first episode. A lot of this crap was me. It was me. But I'm a man. I can stand on that. Because most men won't stand on it. Most men will sit back and lie and hide their hand, throw rocks and hide their hand. I'm not going to hide my hand. I know what I did. But again, it don't define who I am now. See, I'm not perfect, but I have a purpose. This is my purpose. My purpose is to make sure that I help my community. My purpose is to make sure that I help my family. My purpose is to make sure that we all succeed. Whatever level of success that may be, whatever we feel like we're successful at, and we feel like we're successful, that's our success. I'm good with that. But one thing I could not be good with was how I treated her in the past, and I wasn't going to treat her that way in the future. Now, what I was saying earlier, it has cost me relationships because women couldn't see the forest from the trees. They saw her, and they saw her as a threat, when really she would have been a real good friend because she don't want me, I don't want her, but we work together, so it makes you think we want each other because of the chemistry. But there's nothing there but real love, genuine love. Excuse me. And so now that we're told our story, you guys know about what happened between me and her.
That's everything. That's everything from A to Z. I mean, maybe a couple things left out here and there, but that's the gist of it. And the reason why we decided to do that part, that way y'all can see how bad it can get, but then you will see the other side of it, how good it can get. You know, it only gets better if you guys relinquish control.
You gotta let go of control. So let's get back now. Let's get off us and let's get back on Tia. Real quick, let's touch on Tia and Corey. They're 40-some-year-old adults. That's bullshit they're doing. I'm just being real. You're 40-some years old. That is some bullshit. Y'all might as well go ahead and stay together. Now, they should stay together because they still trying to control each other. That is some bullshit.
But she left because he got caught cheating.
Okay, I understand that, but still, you can't tell that man who we can have around them children. That man, 40-some years old.
Well, I don't necessarily think. Okay, now I know
y'all chime in on this. Ain't no way. There's no way.
I agree. I agree because if you remember what I said was I trusted you enough to say, hey, wherever my kid is, they're safe. So they have made this weird agreement that for 6 months they can't introduce nobody to
I mean, the 6-month thing, I get it. You know, take some time to get to know the woman before you start throwing people in front of your children.
I don't think it has to be mandated in a contract.
That should automatically be just what it is.
Yeah, that's weird. That's definitely weird. I don't think I've ever seen, and I'm surprised that they agreed to that. That's kind of
that's weird on so many levels. But what I'm saying is they're in their 40s. They're not 20, 30, where you still kind of immature. You have immature thoughts. These people are adults. Millionaires, and you're sitting up here talking about who you don't want. You know that man gonna date. You're gonna date. It's gonna happen. The children are gonna be, and then their children are not that little. Am I right or wrong?
I don't know the age.
They're not that little. I think they got like one that may be, a little younger.
I think the little girl, she looked like she may be about 4 or 5.
Okay, but the other kids are a little older.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about no 2, 1 infant. We're talking preteens.
It's just a weird agreement anyway, and I don't see how 2 adults would consent and agree to that.
So my thing is, y'all might as well stay together. Y'all might as well spin the block like Nelly and Ashanti. It's just, might as well do it because, hell, everybody's doing it. Spin the block. Try it again. Fix it. I mean, he cheated, but, hell, sometimes, it happens.
Well, do you necessarily think if you cheat, this side topic, but do you think if a man cheats that he still loves?
Yeah.
You think that if
Hell
a man
yeah.
You think if a man cheats on his woman, he still loves her?
Yes, he still loves her.
What?
Yes.
How?
It's not, because thinking when he's cheating, he's not emotionally cheating. He's just physically cheating. He just want to get something going by his business. Women, y'all cheat with emotion. So when you get out here and cheat, that's emotional cheating. So you all wrapped up in it. Oh my goodness, I love you so much, and you just. So you don't know what to do. But man, he cheats. He just cheats off the physical. It's like, am I lying? Hey, y'all, tap in. Tap in. Am I lying? No, real talk. This is what we're going to be about. This is the podcast now.
Okay, hold on. So the kids were born in 2011 and 2017. This is according to Chris Franklin. Shout out for the stats on that. So they old enough at this point. So, it is kind of weird. But you could go back. Hold on. Michael said physical.
It's physical, bro. Am I lying? No. It's physical. So by it being physical, for a man, it doesn't mean nothing to him. He can listen, I'm gonna be real with you. And this is being real. I have slept with a woman and came home and laid in the bed with you like it was nothing.
That was awful.
It was awful, but it's the truth. Because she didn't mean anything. She was just sex. That's it. Maybe it was a day you didn't want to do nothing. Maybe you had a headache. Maybe it was something like that. I don't know. Maybe you had a headache and you didn't want to do anything. So I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of these headaches. Because y'all know they have headaches a lot. When you locked into a relationship, they have headaches a lot, y'all. I'm not lying.
What they have a lot is a lot of responsibility and a lot of my name being called all the damn time. So they tired.
Hold on.
And if you would relieve half of the damn stress on her, she wouldn't have no headache at night. Trust me.
So they have headaches. No, real tough. They have headaches all the time. I got a headache. I don't feel like it's not. Or hold on, I got one for you. Here's the one. And I know some of you guys did deal with this. Here's the one right here. You were being mean all day, and now you want to lay down in the bed and have sex. I'm not having sex with you today. You was being mean all day. You didn't say nothing to me all day. You walked around the house, didn't say anything. Now all of a sudden you want to jump up and down on me. Now lay down and go to sleep. So at some point, that man gonna get tired of laying down and going to sleep.
Forget
and he gonna
that.
get out there and cheat. He gonna get out there and cheat.
It's side note.
No, but seriously, men only cheat. Most men, if they in the committed relationship and they do cheat.
Bobby said real love don't leave. I don't know where the hell what planet you live on.
So they get out here and they cheat. And so when they cheat, it's only physical. Now when women cheat, and you gotta be real, when women cheat, they don't cheat off emotion.
Well, they always say that a woman, her mind leaves the relationship first and then her body, right? And for a woman to cheat, now you got, you have women and then you have girls. So for a woman, she has left and checked out the relationship mentally, but her body is still there. She's still trying to hang on, but I would have to agree with that.
Yeah,
yes.
So what I'm saying is, so let's say Corey did cheat, allegedly. I gotta say allegedly because I don't know. I wasn't there. So everything's alleged.
Well, apparently she had enough evidence to divorce his ass. So.
Well, I'm just saying allegedly because I was not there.
Okay.
So let's say he did, but that don't mean he didn't love her. I just don't see it. I don't see how I can sit up here and tell you I love you from the crown of your head to and I'm doing all this for you and I'm with you and I go and take on the whole spirit of something like me and you can go back and forth with this thing all day long. So hold on. So I'm gonna give you a clear cut scenario of why it goes the way it is, and then you'll understand it. I'm gonna use the dog mentality because I read a book. It's a real good book. If you want to read this book, it's a book that helped me out. It's called it's written by the young brother that was married to Megan Good. And it's called
I don't know.
The Truth About Man is what it's called. It's called The Truth About Man. It's written by Devon Franklin is his name. I read that book and it helped me out a lot. But it's give you the dog mentality. So if you look at a dog does not care. He sleeps with whoever he wants to sleep with, and that's what it is. So you gotta go and read that book because that's what men do. I love you, but I'm gonna get out here and because I haven't mastered that dog on the inside. My dog is mastering me. So you have to master that dog first in order to stop being that dog.
You're just thinking with the wrong head. Anyway, on that note, we are going to thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast today. We hope that you now have a better understanding of the story. So here's where we're going to start getting interesting.
We're about to pivot.
Yeah, we get ready to pivot and start adding new layers and new elements to the show. Stay tuned. Stay excited. Keep tuning in. Please subscribe, like, and share on our YouTube channel.
It is free to subscribe, guys. Please, we're trying to monetize this show, so if you guys could just go share, likes, it doesn't take anything but a click of the button, and we really would love for you guys to do that because we really want to take this show somewhere, and we want to start doing it live at our restaurant when we open up. Shout out to the Big Fish. What's the slogan?
The Big Fish. Ain't no fish like this, baby.
So we're looking forward to opening up the doors real soon for you guys, and we want you guys to continue to come out and support Seeds. We brought Seeds here strictly for our community because we know it was a necessary need. And we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, looking at us yell and scream at each other. Because you see how we did all that and we back here? That's who we are.
Yeah,
that's us.
That's it.
That's us. So we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back to you guys next Tuesday going live as we shoot This is when we pivot. Now, this is where you're going to start seeing other people come into the room. So, guys, just keep tuning in. Help us monetize this show. We really do appreciate it.
And if you are having some baby mama, baby daddy issues, please shoot us an inbox. Let us know your situation. If you have any questions, please comment. If you want to be a participant on our podcast, we definitely would love to have you and your baby mama, or you, or however you want to do it. We are here to help, because guess what? We have figured out the blueprint to co-parenting. Thank y'all for tuning in.
Peace.
Bye.